while this is loading, Ming's going to start talking and giving his presentation. Over to you, Ming.
And everybody's time is precious, especially after 3 days long in the presentations. And my approach is probably a little bit different, and because you've been exposed to many detailed, advanced, and excellent presentations. Here I'm going to just talk about how we really helping as architect engineers. We are here to serving our clients, and many clients has the advantage like Burj Dubai and Burj Arab, with almost unlimited financial background. So how to serving our client who has a very limited requirement. So that's probably a general approach for the four electrical power companies that have been done in China. As everybody knows, China has experienced double-digit growth in the last 2 decades, and power company as a pillar definitely play a very important role in that development and growth. And at the same time, they also experience tremendous growth themselves. So some of the company we're working with, the existing facility is only like 10 years old, but they quickly out of the capacity. So they have to build a new and bigger and more advanced facility to accommodate that growth. And before I go to the design, I want to share quickly some of the background about China power statics. And as you know, China is a developing country, and the measure of their power sources from coal, which is unfortunately the dirtiest energy source. And so China realized that, and good news, they really committed to the sustainable development. But it's a developing country. So how to balance between the sustainable approach and also yet very cost-effective approach is a key issue to a lot of Chinese corporations, especially the state-owned corporation like China Power. Even though they have been grow up to the top 5 large corporations in China, and probably easily within top 100 Fortune 500 companies globally. But again, they always have a very limited budget for their projects. And China also very committed to the growth. For example, the hydropower in the last 2 years alone has increased close to 15%. And also they have been put a lot of effort in improve the technology of existing thermal power generation. And some of the data, for example, the flue dust emission, even though China has, the thermal capacity has increased 5 times in the last 20 years, but the thermal dust emission has dropped 70% compared with 1980. And also, majority of this ash has been recycled. Over 60% of the material has been reused for other purpose. So that shows some of their commitment, and also they are very ambitious for the wind energy. By 2050, they are aimed toward 122 gigawatts. Just put it in perspective, that equals to put them in a third, one of the 3 biggest wind energy market in the world. And given all these realities, as architects, and we feel it's important to help our client to express their brand. So this is these 3 goals. Really commitment to environmental stewardship. In fact, it's quite funny at the beginning because we started our first power project 10 years ago, and none of them even talking about the sustainable concept. And even the Western country, a lot of even China at the time. So we really want to make sure it's an environmental friendly project. And also we want to make sure the innovative and cost-effective technology that focus on the long-term growth. And also how to express the unique characteristics of a power company, make it to become iconic expression. next I'm going to briefly talk about the 4 projects we designed in China, but rather than zooming in the details, but more generally speaking about summarizing about some key approaches we have. And this is the Fujian Provincial Power Company. It's about 195 meters tall, and still the tallest building in the city of Fuzhou. And even though they are in pretty different corporations, but they have common feature. First, they are all state-owned corporations. As some of you know, in China, for any state-owned corporation projects, they have to go through a serious international design competition to select architect. So all these 4 projects we get from the international competition. And also, they all have the similar program. And even though it's just made of a size difference, this is all the different some such as public service, administrative office, dispatch centers, and this is the Jiangsu Provincial Power Company. It's one of the earliest projects we did in China, and for power companies, it's about 265 meters tall, and still one of the top 3 tallest buildings in the city of Nanjing. And this is the Shanghai Shidong Power Company. It's a kind of small brother in the Pudong area. But again, how to express the unique feature of a power company, not through the height, but through some of their, either through sustainable or through iconic expression of the electric power company. And this is the Fuzhou City Municipal City Power Company. And so there's 5 common objectives we try to achieve through all these designs. And first is to provide low-cost, energy-efficient design. Just as mentioned before, they all run into a very tight budget for the state-owned corporation. Just want to give you an example. All these projects, the budget is within $100 per square foot, include coin share and interior finishes. So we're able to achieve all this within that budget. And one of the lower passive, the way to do it is through some passive energy efficient design, which people are using for 1,000 years. For example, most of the projects are in the subtropic areas of China, so it's very hot in summer, very kind of damp in the winter. So we try to take advantage by put towers, majority facade facing south-north orientation. Also take advantage of the dominant wind directions. So this has been applied for 1,000 years in China, and people, not only from the energy purpose, but even from the feng shui point of view, people just like this kind of orientations. And also passive external ventilation systems. All the high-rise buildings we did here are operable is lateral ventilation systems. And either through operable window or in the Fujian Provincial Power case, we developed called aluminum revolving system integrated into the horizontal mullions, so that way, so that we can have the wind come from this louver and go to inside. If you don't need it, we can shut it off. So this way really promote the lateral ventilation, but also avoid liability and maintenance issues for operable windows in the high-rise buildings. And again, a lot of this is a southern China, so it's always full of different plants and vegetarians. So we try to adopt that garden expression in all the projects, whether through the plaza or through all the way horizontally to the vertical sky gardens in every several floors. So, so that has been helping in terms of sustainable concept and control the environment in the microenvironment in that either inside or outside that project. And in the Shanghai Shidong Power, we use photovoltaic technology in the rooftop, and this also is more technology oriented, and it express that clean energy for the power companies. And one way, the second objective is how to express the electrical power company. Basically, we dig into the special, unique characteristics of the modern power company. And one of them is through the material. Power company is about generating power, then transmit it from one place to another place through very high conductive materials. So metal material is a natural material for a power company to express that conductivity. So we're using 3 types of metal in some of our projects here. Aluminum panel is very obviously, and also we use the stainless steel mesh at some of the area like this telecommunication tower, which also help horizontally because it's mesh, so that allow the wind to penetrate through the building without creating more movement. And also we certain in the Fuzhou power we're using the copper material to emphasize that conductivity. And the lighting, for most of our people, when we talk about power company, we associate with lighting. We provide lighting for our daily life. So how to express the power company through lighting design is another important area we'd like to explore. And like you said here, clearly in the Fujian Provincial Power, all this power company, we wrote external lighting that power the telecommunication towers through radiation lighting. And also we created this major 6-floor tall a pair of internal illuminated translucent glass wings, and also create a very fast speed lighting all the way from the ground up to this way, to express that electricity currency. And so all this really try to express the electrical power company. And also, can you imagine that at night really help the city in terms of creating the dynamics for the city skylight at night. And this lighting expression also applied to the internal design, like this lobby space. We put, again, translucent lighting material around the core and also some of the column spaces here. So really help to make the space much more special, much more fit into client expectations. Turbo engine has been traditionally an electric generating method, and so in Shanghai Shidong power design, that motif has been strongly emphasized and inspired us in the whole design, from the planning to the building design, the space from inside to outside. You can see the green space, basically the dynamism all the way leading from the plaza all the way to the roof of the podium, and also the water integrate all the way inside of the building lobby space. So that also inspired us, again, express the uniqueness of the power company. And dynamics also expressed through the movement of these elevators. So in both Shanghai Shidong and the Fuzhou City Power Companies, we put some of the elevators into the external glass elevators to really express the movement. And in the Shidong Power, we even expressed all these utility pipelines into different color-coded, so really turn our aesthetic liability into asset to express the utility. And a telecommunication tower clearly is a very strong, unique characteristic of all power companies. And traditionally in China, all the telecommunication in the power company through is a microwave. So it requires a telecommunication tower in a very high location, so it's unobstructed. And even though today most of them using the satellite communication, but still they want to have a telecommunication tower serving both satellite and microwave purpose. And for some, there's 2 projects like Jiangsu and Fujian, because it's fairly tall. And all this telecommunication tower requires a very strong requirement on the minimum horizontal movement. Generally speaking, it's 1/3 of the building movement. So how to solve that? So we have to put this tower on top of the central concrete core, so to reduce that movement. But on the lower, shorter buildings, we're able to put the towers aside of the building, really express the verticalness of the power company. And another feature is the dispatch center. And this one normally is a huge hall like this space. It's a 2-story, 9-meter tall, about 500 square meter column-free space. And a lot of other countries, people put this one either in the basement or in the podium, above the podium, so it's column-free space. But we feel it's important to express that uniqueness of the power company. So by putting this one on top of the tower, really emphasize that, because this is the soul of the whole power company, it's a dispatch center. All the networking are controlled in this space. So we want to express that, celebrate that image, and also for the user, for the people working inside, it's a 24 hours operation. So really give them the maximum view in the city, so really help them relieve from the daily stress. And the third objective is really provide a flexible, healthy, comfortable environment. As all we know, people is the biggest asset for all the corporations. Same here for the China power companies. So how we, through architecture design, provide a better space for them to encourage the team, to encourage the corporation, to encourage the social activities, and also provide a healthy environment. So that's, you can see here, we are definitely a lot of sky gardens, informal gathering spaces in these places, and it really help promoting that team approach. And natural daylighting all the way through the buildings in office space and in lobby space, and integrate the water features into all this major public space to really help build a health environment perception. And the fourth one is basic respect and improved urban context and character. If you look at a lot of cities in China these days, it's basically concrete jungles. How are we able to provide some kind of called urban oasis? So first is the form. You can see here clearly inspired by the traditional is a coastal city, the fishery, the junk we could sail. And also in the space, we provide a lot of gardens, both in the plaza and also the vertical level, really to be part of the city context. And in Nanjing, the Jiangsu Province Tower, Nanjing is a city of over 2,500 history, so we able to see clearly the traditional Ming Dynasty city wall and the mountains. So we try to inspire that from those kind of traditional features into our building, the podium level, very solid, strong statement, and all this material also used basically from the local. Last one is provide a landmark icon for the client and the community. Like I briefly mentioned before, some of the client clearly they definitely want the iconic statement, but not much sustainable. So we really push them into the sustainable concept. But again, bear in mind the budget concerns, so we're able to achieve some of this through a very passive approach. And again, building itself has to be iconic, whether it's tall or short. So you can see the building clearly have a memorable form for the power companies, and also to explore that spiritual, innovative spirit of the power company, the technology spirit. And the public space is very important for this urban oasis, so really create a space for people living in the city, take advantage of the project we have here into to serving the community. So to conclusion, as you can tell, really the whole design we very much emphasize to build a healthy, sustainable, yet iconic brand for our client. And we believe we did a fairly successful job. That's why we're keeping having more power companies looking for us to do their new projects. So from there, thank you very much for listening to me.